Hello, KCI. It's Kate, and I am really, really excited to introduce you to my friend Ann Brucker, who works at Breakout EDU. So I'm just going to hand the screen over to Ann and just introduce yourself and tell them what you do at Breakout.
All right. Yeah, as Kate said, I'm Ann, and I am number 5 on Team Breakout EDU. And really, what that means is, in my mind, when I was just originally writing and playing games a couple of years ago, I thought that Breakout EDU was in this big office building somewhere in California, warm, and that they had a whole office, and that maybe games team worked down in the basement, and their job was to set up games and just play all day. And I realized not very long ago that that is not true at all. There's 4 people scattered around the country, 5 now, that we run the whole show. So when I say my title is game developer and community manager, that actually means the doer of the things, whatever things might be. I respond to emails. If you were to email info@breakoutedu.com, chances are 3 of the 5 days a week you're going to get me.
I didn't even know that, Ann. That's good stuff.
I have a good customer service background. That who knew that would come in handy again someday. Yeah. That lots of questions from teachers who are just getting kits, or maybe they've unearthed a bunch of kits in a closet somewhere and want to know what they're all about, or ordered a kit and they need to know how to use the online materials that go with it, or I have a lock that's faulty. And so another thing that I do is I ship locks. I don't know if you can see behind me, but these shelves and shelves over here.
Is that what that is?
Yep. I'm your replacement source. So if you ever, need to purchase new invisible ink pens or reflection cards or whatever, that comes right from Billings, Montana.
That's awesome.
And then the biggest bulk of my job, which is actually, the meat of why I am so excited to be even involved in this, is game development. So I write games. I take in other people's games. I go out and I seek out authors to create games. We, look at the standards for whatever content area that we get requests for or see a need for, and we go and find those people that can create those. As a team, we get to work together, the really fun times like holidays and stuff, where we partner up as a group. And I mean, the 4 people that I work with, James Sanders, Adam Bello, Mark Hammonds, and Patty Hardew, they're 4 of the most creative people I've ever encountered. So when we get to sit down as a team and work on a game or a couple of games together, it's just like crazy magic. Yeah, it's so fun. So the fact that I am the games team now, or I'm part of the games team, and I'm not working in any basement anywhere, I'm working from home here. I got a new puppy for the occasion. one more body to keep me company, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing.
So you guys can see why I thought of Ann when it came time to walking you all through Breakout EDU. And because this is an online class, and because it's it has heavy digital components, some of what we're going to be talking about today is going to be focused on the digital breakouts, but I love, Ann, that you shared with them kind of that backstory on Breakout EDU in general, because I think a lot of educators have heard of it, and the huge influx of everybody buying the kits felt like it was just a couple of years ago, and I think it's still happening, but I feel like everybody was buying. And so I've come across so many teachers that are like, I don't know what to do. So the fact that you said all that, I think, is just amazing. So why don't we transition and tell us what are some tips, strategies, best practices for actual players of these breakout games?
Sure. So when you're digital or physical?
I think both.
Okay, well, let's just go. Because kind of the same concept.
Right.
The physical games, obviously, you get a lot more hands-on time, so there's physical things to touch and feel and try and maybe put together. Digital is all a lot of making inferences. So while the physical puzzles have a lot of those components in it, I think really I'm fascinated by the digital platform and I taught 4th and 5th grade. Around the time that we met, I had just left the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so 4th and 5th graders are my heart. And when I'm thinking of a game, I'm always thinking about, what was this like as a teacher when I was trying so hard to stand at the front of the room and talk this to death and get them to understand it. Now I'm seeing it actually lived out in a game.
Yeah.
So making inferences was one of our huge skills we had to hone in on for those 4th and 5th grade standards. And now that it's so if you are introduced to a game, Kate and I were talking earlier that, you go to an escape room and you pay them money to lock you in a room for an hour, knowing that you're not going to have a clue what you're doing, and that the first 5 minutes you're standing there looking around like, what do I do? What do I do? And all you really know is a theme. Right. You pay money for that. Kind of a similar concept. Like going in when you're about to play a Breakout EDU game, whether it's a physical game or a digital.
See, that's the real stuff we talked about.
Whether it's a physical game or a digital game or a room full of barking dogs.
Right.
You have those puzzles are purposely, intentionally designed to be challenging. They're designed to give you that sense of disequilibrium in your brain, because when that's happening, that's when you're learning. Mm-hmm. If everything is always easy, you're not learning anything. Mm-hmm. So as a player, if you are presented with an opportunity to play a game, go into it knowing you're going to struggle. The answers aren't just going to be right there or digits disguised on a piece of paper. Sometimes they might be, but a lot of times that might be the buy-in that gets you swept mm-hmm. into it and encourages you to keep playing as you scaffold up in the layers. However, most of the time when you are struggling, you're going to be looking for something that is most likely right in front of your face. With a little bit of your own schema can be put together to be right in front of your face. So you may have like an image and some text, or just an image or just some text. And you have to look at that and decide what clues are there right here in front of me that I can extract from in order to determine a combination. So one of the things you might know is I'm working toward a 5-letter combination. It's 5 letters, so it has to be a word. How does this picture and this little bit of text work together to give me something that might result in a word? So it might be something as simple as paying attention to the number of stars in each cell of a comic strip. That's going to indicate the order that you're going to find something that was given in the text. I mean, you're going to assume that it's going to be harder than it looks. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, don't over adult it. I mean, as grown-ups, we tend to overthink things far more than kids do. And I'll talk in just a second when you ask me one thing I want to leave. When I watch kids play these games versus grown-ups play games, it's a very different experience because kids are so flexible in their thinking. So a tip for you as a player is don't overthink things. Yeah. Just, think like, what would a 10-year-old do? You take it at its face value and work from there.
I love it. And so along with that, I mean, did you use breakouts when you were in the classroom?
No. It didn't exist yet.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, it's kind of fascinating to think about that. And yet here you are supporting so many educators as facilitators. So what have you seen be like the difference? You kind of spoke to it, but what's like the main difference for a player versus a facilitator, and maybe even like kind of what's been your personal aha with it?
Yeah. Well, so I first learned about Breakout EDU at ISTE 2.5 years ago when it was in Denver, mm-hmm. and they had the bus. And that was my first ISTE, so I was so overwhelmed.
Right.
Just the people, and there were people that were in our Google Teacher Academy cohort that I wanted to, I was trying to fit all these things in, and the one thing that everyone was talking about was this bus with this on it, and did you break out? And every time I try to go out there and get a time on the bus, I couldn't get in. So of course, I go home, and that's the first thing I do is just like drop my bags. I'm like, I'm gonna order a kit. And I had the same idea as everyone else in the world, apparently. It's back ordered for like 3 months.
Wow.
And I remember getting an email from Mark. I didn't know Mark at the time, but I've come to know Mark quite well. And he said, we're just really back ordered, so sorry, you can have your choice between a t-shirt or upgrade to a wooden box. And I was like, I don't want a wooden box. At the time, I was a technology integration specialist, and so I'm going to have to cart this big wooden around with me. And so I was like, I'm fine with the plastic box, but I would really love a t-shirt. So they sent me the t-shirt while I waited the 3 months for my box to come. And then when it finally did come, it was probably like October. Excuse me. And I think I went on to the website, because it was just a website at the time, and I found a game. And I was pretty closely connected to the classroom still, because I'd only been out for like a year. And it's really easy to find a willing teacher when you're a technology integration specialist to be like, hey, can I try something new in your class? Usually they're like, yes, good. So I wish I remembered what the game was that I set up, but I set up the game according to the instructions, didn't really understand it, but knew that everyone in Denver, all of my edu heroes, were making a big deal out of this. Clearly it was a thing, so trust the system.
Right.
Set it up as it was described, printed out the resources just as they said to do it, and I took it into this classroom not really knowing at all what to expect. And because I didn't know, I kind of feel like I had an advantage in that I wasn't able to like feed them information. I wasn't able to overteach, help, if I put that in air quotes, we'll explain that in a minute. But as I watched these kids and the way that they were talking, and there was like just this excitement in the air. It was
it's like palpable, right?
Yes, you feel, and like listening to them, well, that didn't work. What if we try this? And what if? And lots of what ifs. And I love it, because that's like, try something different, try something different, try something different. So I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And so then when I got back to my desk, I remember thinking, holy crap, I give professional development. This would be perfect. Perfect way to train teachers who have to come to my trainings, who don't necessarily want to be there. They're only there for the credit. Like, we might as well make it fun. So my very first mission was to write a game. I like trying to wrap my head around that whole concept of how to get them to this lock, which will lead to that lock, which will lead. By far, still the most complex game I've ever written. It was a Google game, Gaff Gauntlet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Back when we called it Gaff still. So I wrote this game, and I sat down with my colleagues, and now mind you, I created this game. I knew all the ins and outs of how it would come together. And what I noticed as they were struggling was I kept going over there and like, hey, giving them. And at that moment, I was like, I had that like lightning strike me on the head, epiphany moment. Like, what have I been doing for 18 years as a teacher? That I've been swooping in and helping by giving them an answer or reminding them that this is the 5th time that I've shown them how to do this long division step. You should know it by now. Remember, subtract. When really, if I would have just stood back and shut up, probably would have figured it out on their own, because they knew the steps. They knew what the outcome was. And if I'd have given them a little bit clearer goal, they probably could have got there if I would have just stepped back. So that for me, as a, not necessarily just in the team of Breakout EDU, but as a teacher, I was like, I've been doing this completely wrong for 18 years. Shut up. Shut up and think and let them work and let them struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge for me. And so I noticed when I was not doing Breakout, as I was going into classrooms and modeling interactive projectors for teachers or whatever the concept was, that really stuck with me. Like, how can I get them to struggle through learning this on their own so that they will learn it on their own? Completely changed the way that I approached working with kids and leading professional development. I mean, it was huge to me. So as a facilitator, I would say if you're a teacher who's getting ready to run a game, your teacher who's getting ready to win a game, keep that in mind. It's okay for a learner to struggle. I've been hearing this term lately, instead of helicopter parents, lawnmower parents.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Whoa, yes, it's this great concept where we as parents, we don't want our kids to struggle at all. And so instead of coming in and saving them, we mow down every obstacle in the way
Oh, got it.
of them. And so in order to have them not struggle, we never teach them how to struggle. So when you set up a game, one, trust that the author of the game has gone to the painstaking effort to test it on their children, their family. My family plays every game that I've ever. They're like, another one. But that they probably tested that game. It's run through the rigorous testing of us taking a look at it, not in the basement of the games department. I actually do, like, especially the digital games, I play through the game without looking at the answers first to experience it as a learner. So when you look at a game, set it up, trust that it's the directions are good, and we do sometimes find that they're not so much, but we can fix that. Mm-hmm. And then just stand back and watch. It's okay for you not to know how every puzzle is solved or what the answers are, and listen. It frees you up to be able to rotate through your room and listen to those quiet, shy kids who never want to raise their hand. Yeah. They have the best ideas. And the little bossy girls who know it all and want to have hands on everything. That was me. I'm putting it myself. They are sometimes wrong. Yeah. And they struggle with this because they're used to doing school. Right. They're used to be told the steps to do things. They're used to being given instructions. They follow them very well, and they want to please you, so they do it right. When they don't know, they struggle. They're not used to struggling. So everyone has a chance to learn when you step back and let them. And what you learn about your kids, not just through them solving the puzzles of the game, because there's tremendous academic benefits for you to glean there, but also like with those soft skills. Kind of a bully. Who is the one that has great ideas and just needs a platform? They need a voice. So you get to see those things actually in action, and you learn so much more as their teacher. Yeah. To be their teacher by you being freed up and not having to know everything all the time. So.
Okay, so I was saying this earlier when I was chatting with Ann that I have to stop myself from there's like sunshine right on my nose. I have to stop myself from wanting to just like get into the tools. So I'm guessing students in KCI class, you probably are like itching to go too. So let's end with this note, Ann, because you've painted this picture. It's like Tease City 101. Like you've gotten us ready to go. So what's the one thing you want to leave with this group of educators who potentially could be playing Breakout for the very first time?
Yes. Embrace the struggle. The motto of Breakout EDU is it's time for something different. I don't know if you could.
Oh, I did saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
We know you've probably read 1,000 books in your courses and through the course of your education you will continue to do so. We know that we're on the right track, but we could be doing a lot of things better. And I think we recognize that because with STEM and with concepts like Project Lead the Way or project-based learning and Breakout EDU, I feel like we're trying to right this great wrong in that we've taught our kids this learned helplessness, and things like Breakout EDU or STEM or whatever, the engineering and design thinking, all of that is in place to let kids take back their learning and to have some ownership in how well they are actually able to do that. So as a player, as a facilitator, as a teacher, not even playing a Breakout EDU game, embrace that struggle and let it play out for the benefits that it really truly has. That would probably be my one big thing.
And so when are you doing your Ignite talk on this? I'm confused. And I just love spending time with you, and I really, really appreciate you giving us this introduction. KCI folks, have so much fun getting your hands dirty with all the tools. I, for one, see so many different ways that we can use even just the concepts and the approaches of Breakout EDU in any of our game design. But like Ann said, even in just our everyday life, even in the way that we are like aunts and uncles and moms and dads and husbands and wives and all the things, you know, it's kind of like life coaching. So I really, really appreciate your time today, Ann, and you people have fun, and we'll see you later. Bye.